Hi friends, welcome to the third episode of Azure Active Directory, How to Create and Manage Roles by Azure Made Simple. The topics that we will be covering today are what is Azure AD Roles, what are the different types of Azure built-in role provided, and followed by live demonstration of creating custom roles and how we can assign access based on the roles. What are Azure Active Directory roles? So we can consider that a collection of permissions is known as role or just called as role. It defines whether a particular user or group of users can read, write, and delete particular resources or not. Role definition structure is presented in JSON format. We'll follow this during a live demonstration, and in the table you can see the different attributes of that JSON structure: name, ID, whether it's custom or not, description, action, and so on. So while we're creating a role, we can obviously define what are the actions that it allows a user to take, and we can also specifically define what are the actions that can be restricted or that are restricted to that particular role. Those can be defined in not actions, basically denied permissions. Moving on, what are the different type of built-in roles? So basically there are three types: owner, contributor, and reader. If you're an owner, you can manage a resource completely, including you can share the access with other users. If you're having a contributor based access, you can manage completely, you can create, but you cannot grant access to the others. And if you are having a reader access, you can just view the Azure resources. Moving ahead to the live demonstration. So if you remember, in our last two sessions, we have created a test user 1 and a test user group in AD. Today, we'll have a look at the creation of groups and assignment using that groups, how the roles can be assigned and access can be shared. So I'll go to the Azure Active Directory. We'll quickly check whether we are having this test user or not. Test user 1 is there. How and what will go? We'll go to roles and administration from manage within Azure Active Directory. And here we can see different or all the different types of built-in roles that are already present. So if you see billing administrator can perform common billing related tasks like updating payment info and so on, right? Cloud device, cloud compliance administrator, global reader. So say for example, if you want a user or a group of user to have access to all the resources, but at reader level, we can assign this particular thing. So what I'll do, I'll just click and check what the description says. So here if you see, this is global reader. User with this role can read everything that a global administrator can, but not update anything. As we have read or we saw in the PPT, that basically there are three built-in roles: owner, contributor, and reader. And these are different type of roles and permission that is present, and the same can be mapped. I'll just cancel this. Now what I'll do, I'll switch to test user. So this is the test user. As you can see, it says I don't have access, right? Access to what? Access to particular resource group that I was accessing. If you see, this is the resource group KDRG01, right? So although I can access the Azure portal, right? But if I go to resource group, I don't see any resource group. So what we'll do, we'll provide this test user the access to the particular resource group. I'll switch back to the administrator account that I am having. Now I'll go to the resource group. So if you see, now I am able to see the Azure resource group which I had created. I see that there is a storage account as well. Now how you can go to access control IAM. You can check roles. Go to reader. No one is assigned. Select a role. I'll select a role. I'll select a reader. I'll select whom you want to assign to, right? I'll just select by name, test user 1. Yes. I've selected a member. What I did, I selected reader and no one was there, no users. As you can see, 0 users are there. Now what I'm doing, I'm adding a role assignment. I selected the role, assign access to an Azure AD user group or service principal. So now what I have done, I have selected this user. What I can do, I can also select a user group. So what will happen by default, if you want to provide a group of user read-only access across all the resources, you can add all the members to this particular group. So it's simple. What I'll do, I'll also add the group. Now what I'll do, I'll save. As you can see, adding role assignment added. I'll do a quick refresh. While I'm refreshing, let's see whether reader is having users and group added. So if you can see now, there are one user and one user group added to the reader, right? And if I'll go, I'll see the details as well. So now what we have done, we have added test user and test user group that we had created to provide them read-only access on the particular resource group, that is KD RG01. And if you remember, the test user 1 was not able to access anything. What I'll do, I'll go back, select test user. And if you see now, I am able to access KDRG01 and I can see the resources, that is the storage account or any other if I create resources. Now let's try to create a resource within it. So if you remember, we had assigned only reader permissions for this particular user, right? What we'll do, we'll go back to overview. We'll try to add something. Okay. Just a second. What we'll do, we'll try to create a resource. Let's say storage account. Create. Now it should not allow me to create, right? I've selected okay, test store account. Okay. So if you see, as soon as we clicked on the validations and review and create, so it allowed me to enter the details, but while creation and review, it does a validation check. And during that validation check, it gave me an error that client test user 1 with object ID something does not have authorization to perform action, that is Microsoft.resources deployed and anything, right? So ideally I cannot create. Only what I can do, I can view the resources. Now quickly what I'll do, I'll move back to the administrator account and we'll see how the different attributes that we had seen previously over the PPT, how we can check, right? Using Cloud Shell. So I'm opening the Cloud Shell using PowerShell. So requesting a Cloud Shell succeeded, connecting to the terminal, and the terminal will open soon. Okay, get AD role definition. Sorry for that. Now what I'll do, I'll just write name and owner. Okay. So what does this give? This gives me a JSON based output, and it says name of the type of role, that is owner. Whether it's a custom role or not, it is false. So say for example, if you're creating a custom role, here it should be true. What is the description? Lets you manage everything including access to the resources, and all actions are allowed, and there is no assignable scope. It means there is no specific scope. When we talk about scope, this could be particular resource group like we just did with the user one, or this could be particular resource or any particular subscription. Now what we'll do, we'll just rerun the same command for contributor. So if you see this, this one is for owner and this output is for contributor. So the major difference is, since we know contributor allows you to manage everything except access to the resources. So if I am assigning someone as a contributor or a group or a user, the user can manage those resources, create, delete, but though that user cannot forward the access to any other user or group. So that's why we see on the actions, all actions are allowed, but in the not actions, we see Microsoft authorization delete, it's not allowed, writing is not allowed, and so on. And there are more, right? So this is how we can create a role. We can also create or assign a role, existing roles, or we can create custom roles and assign into a user and group. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. This is Azure Made Simple signing off.